Hi, it's Linda and welcome back to my channel. It's time to plan for September, so let's go right ahead and dive in. Okay, so I'm going to start with my vision board, which has honestly been such a refreshing and relaxing practice this year. If you haven't been following me, every month this year, I have created a vision board in my Hobonichi Cousin for the first page in the dailies. So if you're not familiar with the Hobonichi Cousin, it has a one page per day, but for each month, it also has like a landing page. And in the past, I've used these for goals and I've seen a lot of people use them for various things. But what I've been doing this year is use them for a vision board or a mood board for the month. So my whole idea with it is just to kind of cut out stuff from magazines to kind of set the stage for the month. So what I typically do when working on this is I pull out a few new magazines and sit down and watch some TV, relax, and flip through and cut stuff out. In addition to cutting things for my vision board, I'm also just cutting things in general because I do use magazine cutouts in my Hobonichi Cousin pretty frequently. And it's very tedious to flip through a magazine to look for exactly what you want. Instead, I tend to cut things out that I know I might use in the future, and I cut them all out at that same time when I'm flipping through the magazine, and then I have them for reference. So, for example, I have that tray of all of the alphabets, and that is what I use to pull from when I need to write words. So I will cut out words that either have rare letters or a font that I really like, and we'll just add them to there as I'm going. I'm also cutting out words and themes that I want for my monthly vision board, and then other words and things that I might want for just my planner or my journal in general, and those will tend to go in the separate tray. I'm flipping through the Magnolia magazine, which is one of the newer ones that I picked up, one of my favorites. My magazines that I get I have a few subscriptions, and I subscribe through magazines.com because you can get a very good deal, and they often have like bundle deals where you can get additional magazines for super cheap. So I have picked up a few extra ones because I just have loved this practice so much, and I can never get enough of magazines to cut out of. I have an affiliate link with magazines.com, and I would appreciate if you're interested in signing up for one to use those links. They are down in the description box below, and I just get a small commission from that, which I can use to help support my channel. I am going to do voiceover for a lot of this video, but I'm also going to just put on some music. I know that, in the past, I have done these videos a little bit sped up, and people have said that they really appreciate a slower pace with a little bit of a longer video. I can talk through things, or I can share just some music over it, and you can sit along, get a drink, pull out your planner or your journal and work alongside me and hopefully enjoy the process. You can see I'm also cutting out little images, and you will see later in this video, I tend to use those on my monthly spreads in the Hobonichi Cousin. My plan for the monthly spreads is to do like one icon per day. Oh, hi pumpkin. And I use those, I pull different things from magazines or stickers to try to designate something kind of special that happened that day. It is somewhat difficult to find images that are actually relevant to my life that are small enough to fit in those boxes on the Hobonichi Cousin, but it's been kind of a fun challenge this year. So right now, in addition to cutting things out for my vision board, I'm cutting out images for my monthly title pages. I am cutting out ones that I have no reason to use right this second, and those will go just in general in my tray there to the side where I just keep these images. But some of them are for the month of August, which it's currently August when I was working on this, and I had not filled in my August month calendar yet. I was still working through it. I traveled for most of the beginning of more than the first half of the month of August, so I just had made a conscious decision to not work on that while traveling. And so now I'm working on filling in those gaps in my journal. Working on multiple things at once definitely helps me when working through cutting out magazines, because I have in mind the fact that I am working on that calendar page and my vision board and just collecting things in general for my stash. And that way I'm not constantly going back to flip through more and more magazines, but I'm still able to enjoy the process and make it actually beneficial for me. I'm also kind of reading some of the articles while I'm flipping through here. This Magnolia one I already read, but some of the other ones, I think I have a travel and leisure and like a cooking light one. Those I had not yet read, so I did stop to look at some of the recipes. And I think I was doing that in the Magnolia one as well. After I finished flipping through the stack of magazines that I was going through, I went into my stash of magazine cutouts. And I do have a stack of full page photos, and these I typically use for the background of my vision board. So my vision board is usually text based, but I like to put a background image on it. So I'm going through my stack of images here to see if there's any that really work for the month of September. There's a lot of like cozy ones that I really love and that I'm looking forward to using this winter. But for September, it's more fall. And it's definitely not like cozy winter vibes yet, but it is definitely getting cooler out. But after August, which was so like travel focused, I am really craving like being at home, and not just being at home, but I'm also working on some home projects. And I want to get my house more decorated and organized. That is something I started working on more seriously earlier this year, and I had taken a break for my large summer vacation, and now I'm ready to get back into it. So I selected this image of like a decorated living room to be the base of my vision board. So I cropped it down and am adhering it into my journal. I'm using white washi tape to add a strip along the edge there, and I do that whenever I'm building a vision board that goes kind of close to the the spine, I guess, of the album, because when it goes too close to it, if it doesn't have tape on it, the paper from the vision board could get folded or bunched up along the edge there, and it can make it hard to turn the pages. So I like to just add a layer of tape whenever it's something that's close to the edge. And it's not just a vision board. If I'm adhering photos or other images into my journal, and I know it's going to be close to that crack right there, I am going to add washi tape. Next, I'm looking for the letters to write out the word September for the month. And I'm super thrilled that I have the alphabets in that tray there, because if I didn't and I had to go through magazines to find all the letters I need, it would take forever. So this a huge time saver to crop out these letters as I find them and then pull from that tray when I need specific letters. This year I had been doing the same thing where I'm adding the title of the month using this type of alphabet, but I had been doing them horizontal on the page. For September, it felt like it was just too long of a word to fit horizontally, and I definitely could have done it by overlapping the letters or by, just I don't know, finding smaller ones, but I decided to just go big and make it run along the page vertically, like if you have to turn the page. And I wanted something to kind of ground it on. So I added that washi, which I did pull up because I wanted to have some sort of like color behind it so the letters would pop. So I got this craft paper from my stash and I just tore it off and made a strip there. And then I added that washi as like a little base. And I'm just going to adhere all my alphas down on here. I did not do a great job of centering it, and I know I could have measured and made sure that the craft paper kind of was the same length as the word, but I was just having fun and didn't really worry about it, and I end up covering up the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter in the end. Once I'm done adding the letters down, the next step is to go through all of the word phrases and put the words on here. For these vision boards, I tend to do the words in like a stack. And I usually run them, from top to bottom and the text of the month is part of them. But because the text of the month is going vertically this time, I'm using that as like a grounding point, and I'm going to left align all of my words in a stack alongside the word September there. However, that reclaim had like this border around it, and I thought it would be perfect to put at the top there and cover up that extra craft paper, and it fit perfectly next to the word September. But I'm just going to go through these words and add them to the stack. So I'm doing the ones that I pulled out of the magazines that I just flipped through first. And then once I run out of those, then I will go back in my stash there. I have that tray with a lot of words in it, and I will go through there to select some more until my vision board is complete. So next I'm going to my monthly spreads and I'm working on these. So I'm just filling in a few of the gaps in August. I'm going to work on this at another time. Typically I finish that up while I'm doing my plan with me, but as you can see, I didn't really do anything in it so far. So I'm definitely going to need to focus on that at another time. Instead, I'm moving on to setting up my September month. So I pulled out my fall washi tape, which I tend to rotate my seasonal washi tape out on my desk, but because it's still August, I haven't pulled the fall washi out yet because I'm not using it in my daily pages. So I pulled it out just to do this spread, and I picked this one that's like a pink and orange leaf pattern, and it's super cute. I don't remember where it's from, but I really liked the colors and I thought it would work really well for this spread. Then I went into my alphas again to write out the word September, and this time I want the word to be smaller than the one I put on my title page or my vision board, so I'm looking for smaller letters. And what I end up concluding is that there's not a small B in my stash. There's only two, and they're very, very big. B is one of those letters that's kind of hard to find. There's not a ton of them. So I am going to flip back through my magazines for a little bit and see if I can find a B. The final step in setting up my Hobonichi Cousin is to set up my trackers. So I use this like Calendex page in the front as hobby trackers, which basically means I write out all of my main hobbies at the top, and then I use my bullet marker every day to track in here which hobbies I'm working on. Because this is a hobby tracker and not just like a regular habit tracker. These are not things that I'm trying to do every day. They are just things that I want to be aware of how frequently I'm doing them and make sure I'm making time for them in my life, and that I am not getting sucked into one hobby at the expense of others. And it's totally fine if I go through phases, but I do just like having that data so that I don't lose sight of any of my hobbies. Next, I'm moving on to my craft planner. And what I'm going to do now is set up my craft plans for the month of September. So the left-hand side is where I track my project goals, and the right-hand side is where I track products. And I'm just setting this up. I'm not going to plan out my actual projects at this point because I did film this before the end of August, but I do come back at the end of this video and finish up the spread to put in what actual projects I wanted to work on and complete during the month of September. So I will talk about that a little bit more when I get to it. The right-hand side is where I track my products. And I've talked about this in previous videos, but basically what I do is I track certain products in and out just to make sure that I'm not bringing more supplies into my house than I am using. And honestly, I am most of the time, but I'm trying to make sure that it's, make it even out, or like at least try to. And I think that the tracker definitely makes me cognizant of that. I buy less because I think about how I'm going to have to track it. And I purposefully am seeking out ways to use extra supplies or donate supplies, any way to track it as like an out on the page so that I can try to balance out my stash over time. My final planner to set up is my everyday carry, which this year I'm using the B6 Common Planner from Sterling Ink. I am not going to be using one of these again next year. The blank pages in the back are just too much blank for me, I think. I don't know, I need a little bit of structure. But I'm setting up my September landing page, which is just, like the name of the month and just a divider between the daily pages from August. But because I set this up a little bit with August a little bit left in the month, I did leave a couple of pages to finish up August in here. Then I also set up my trackers, which are all of my chores around the house and my habit trackers. And I think I took a quick glance at my monthly spread, but I don't really have to set those up in here. There's not really much to do. I'm just making sure that the calendar is up to date. The last piece for you guys here on this video is me finishing up my craft plans. So now that I'm filming this one much closer to the month of September, it was still maybe like a week away when I filmed the first part, and now it's only like a day or so away. So I know what crafting I'm going to have completed in August and what crafting needs to get moved to September. I used my Project Life tracker first to figure out the spreads that I had already planned out, basically what the dates were and what kit I was going to use to add those to my tracker. And then I'm going to add a few additional ones on there as well. In addition to Project Life, I'm also prioritizing my creative team projects, of course, because those have due dates. And so I'm listing out the things that I expect to do this month. I'm also going to work on my Europe album, which is not my priority right now, but I do want to get a plan for it in place this month. And I want to finish my basic photo editing. I have 2 of the 5 countries I visited left to do. Then I'm also going to be working on December daily. I know it's super early, but I get my products early because I do some promotional content for Allie Edwards. So I am working on a lot of that in the month of September because that is when it's going to be shared with you guys. I'm also going to focus on my foundation pages and just getting that project prepped. Because of the timeline with doing promotional materials, I tend to do or at least the last couple of years because I've been helping with that, I am working on my foundation pages earlier in the year and then having a little bit of a break before actual December. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thanks. Bye.